In a very large, luxurious room on a king-size bed, a little girl was sleeping curled up like a kitten. The room was very big and plush. Its interior design was modern, perhaps in Italian style. Everything was placed perfectly everywhere. Additionally, the room's theme was very simple, yet it had a certain class. Morning had arrived. The morning sunlight streamed through the large window, falling on the face of the girl sleeping on the bed, making her face look even more beautiful. Due to the sunlight, the girl began to stir in her sleep and turned over. After doing this a couple of times, suddenly she jolted awake. She sat up and began to look around with her dark, deep eyes. It was none other than Siya, who that unknown man had brought here with him. Seeing herself in an unfamiliar place, Siya panicked. She couldn't understand what she was doing there. After much effort, she could only remember that she had been kidnapped. Because of this, she had escaped from the hospital and had bumped into someone. She had asked that person for help. After that, darkness had engulfed her eyes. What happened next, how she ended up here, whether anyone helped her or not, she had no idea. As Siya was thinking about this, the door opened. A woman in a uniform, who seemed to be the house help, entered. Seeing the uniform, it looked like she worked here. When she saw that the little girl sleeping on the bed was now awake, joy filled her eyes. She quickly approached Siya and said, "You are awake? How are you feeling? Is there any pain? If there is, please let us know without hesitation, and we will call the doctor right away." Siya was a bit startled by her sudden arrival, but when she felt love, care, and a sense of belonging in the woman's words, her anxiety lessened a little. Looking at the woman, Siya asked, stammering, "Who are you? How did I get here? What is this place?" To which the woman smiled and said, "Don't worry, this place is completely safe. You are in our master's house right now. He brought you here, but you were unconscious at that time, so we had to get you treated immediately. Then we found out that you were very injured. Because of this, you became very weak. That's why you were unconscious for the last 3 days. And today, you have regained consciousness." Hearing her words, Siya understood that the person she had asked for help had indeed helped her and brought her here. Just as she was about to say something further, the woman said, "In the midst of all this, I forgot to tell you my name. My name is Leela. I am the house help here. If you need anything, you can let me know, madam." To which Siya looked at her and politely said, "Thank you, Leela ji, and please don't call me madam repeatedly. What is my name? And you are older than me, so you can call me Siya." To which Leela ji smiled and said, "There is one condition. If you call me auntie instead of Leela ji, then I will call you whatever I want. Otherwise, I will continue to call you madam." Hearing Leela ji's words, a small smile appeared on Sia's sad face. She looked at her and said, "Okay, auntie." To which Leela ji said, "All right, you go and freshen up. In the meantime, I will inform the master that you have regained consciousness." She took Siya to the bathroom and quickly went to inform her master. Leela quickly stood in front of a large study room and gently knocked on the door. A cold voice came from inside, "Come in." So Leela ji entered and calmly said, "Master, Siya, the madam you brought with you, has regained consciousness." Hearing her, the man working on his laptop said without taking his eyes off the screen, "After giving her proper medicine and breakfast, send her to me." Leela ji nodded and left. She quickly went to the kitchen, prepared a light snack for Siya, and returned to the room where Siya was kept. When she entered, she saw that Siya was sitting on the bed, lost in thought. She came in and said to Siya, "You quickly have this snack and take your medicine." To which Siya replied, "Auntie, the one who saved me, he." To which Leela ji said, "I went to inform the master about your regaining consciousness. He said that after your breakfast, you should be brought to the study room." Siya was a bit hesitant, but she was also very concerned about her health. So, she took a little snack. She didn't eat much, just a few spoonfuls. The rest she refused to eat. Leela ji tried to persuade her a lot, but she wouldn't listen. Giving up, she gave her the medicines. After taking the medicines, she said, "Come on, I will take you to the master." Hearing this, Siya nodded and followed Leela ji. In a short while, they stood in front of a large door. Leela ji carefully locked the door. Then a cold, dangerous voice came from inside, saying, "Come in." Leela ji opened the door and gestured for Siya to enter. She hesitantly walked in slowly, filled with fear. Upon entering, her eyes froze on the man sitting in a large chair in front of her. In front, a very handsome man was sitting in a big chair. He looked to be around 28 years old and was about 5 feet tall. His muscular body, tawny skin, and blue eyes, along with his perfectly shaped face, made him look like a Greek god. But there were no emotions on his face. His body was absolutely perfect. Muscular chest, six-pack abs. It looked like God had taken great care in creating him, and his tawny skin accentuated his physique even more. He was currently looking at something on his laptop screen. When he realized that someone had entered the study room, he lifted his cold, friendly eyes to look ahead. Then he saw a thin girl staring at him. Then he said in his cold, emotional voice, "If you want to see, come and sit here." Hearing his voice, Siya came to her senses and realized what she was doing. She felt a bit embarrassed. Hiding her embarrassment, she slowly walked over and sat in the chair in front of the man. Neither of them spoke. In the midst of this silence, Siya felt a bit awkward, so she broke the silence and said in her weak and soft voice, "Thank you for saving me that day, and also for taking such good care of me. Now I feel like I should leave here." Before she could say anything more, the man interrupted. "What were you doing there? Who did this to you? And who were you running away from?" To which Siya looked up into his eyes. Then she averted her gaze and said, "Look, I know you saved me, but right now I can only say thank you. I can't tell you anything more than that." To which the man replied, "Until you answer my questions, you won't be going anywhere." To which Siya, looking into his eyes, said, "And what if I don't stay here?" The man then smiled a smirk and said, "Try it." Siya understood that the man sitting in front of her was very dangerous. No, he was a stubborn and idealistic person. So she said, "All right, I will tell you. Those people wanted to take me back to the mental assignment. They tortured me there. Because of their actions, my health deteriorated so much that I had to be admitted to the hospital. When I was in the hospital, I decided to escape from there, but due to weakness, I couldn't go far. Also, I was bleeding a lot from the injuries on my hands, so I was feeling dizzy. That's why I asked you for help." To which he said, "And why were they doing all this to you?" "Because no one does this to someone without a reason. There must be some big reason behind it, right?" Now Siya was getting irritated. So she said a bit angrily, "I answered the first question you asked. And why should I answer any of your questions? Thank you from the bottom of my heart for saving me, and I will repay you for this help soon. But why do you want to know so much about me? After all, what do I know about you? And what do you know about me that I should tell you everything?" To which the man sitting in front replied, "What do you think, Siya Rao? How long would it take for Human Bajaj to extract someone's information? This is our story's hero, Human Bajaj, the CEO of Bajaj Group of Industries. He is considered a big name in the business world. He is also referred to as the king of the underworld. However, not many people know about this. Still, the whole of India knows him by name. No one had the courage to go against the Bajaj family or Human Bajaj. They had so much power and money that they could buy a quarter of the world. There weren't many people in Human Bajaj's family, just his grandmother. Human's parents died in a car accident when he was just a small child. Since then, his grandmother has raised him. And in terms of family, Human only has his grandmother, whose name is Urmila Bajaj. We will learn more about this later." Hearing his own name from the man sitting in front, Sia's eyes widened, because the man in front knew her name. But when she heard her name, all the information related to it flooded her mind. She knew who Human Bajaj was. She couldn't believe that Human Bajaj himself had helped her, had saved her. She also remembered how powerful and dangerous this man was. Therefore, Siya dropped the idea of going against him. Siya said nothing. Human turned slightly towards her and said, "Name Siya Rao, age 17, currently completing her studies. The lost real daughter of the Rao family, who was recently found and brought back by her grandfather. But her own family refused to accept her. And that girl was accompanied by the one whom they had brought from the hospital years ago, believing her to be their daughter. As far as I think, I have an idea that the one responsible for your condition is also the same." Hearing his words, Siya said nothing. She just lowered her head and listened to everything he said. Every single thing that had happened to her so far was coming back to her mind. Then, after thinking for a while, she looks at Manav and says, "Everything you said is true, but there is one mistake in it. The mistake is, the Chirag family is my family. I have no family. I am an orphan, and I have spent my entire life in an orphanage. That's why I don't associate my name with such a big family, Mr. Manav Bajaj." To which Manav replies, "You are right. You have no connection with the Rao family, because they have not officially declared you their daughter yet, nor have they adopted you. You are right." The words he spoke, or rather the pain in his heart, were because it was a bitter truth that was hurting Siya a lot. But she also knew that it was true, and she quickly accepted that truth. Siya says, "If you are done asking your questions, can I leave now? I will repay you for all the help you have given me till now, soon." To which Manav teasingly replies, "And how will you do that? You are a student yourself, and as you just said, you have no family, no one of your own. No, you have no place to stay, and you are not in a position to go back to your orphanage. So how will you repay my favor?" Siya found his words unpleasant, but she also knew that he was speaking the truth. Therefore, looking into his eyes, she confidently says, "What is the price of this favor of yours?" Manav saw a spark in Sia's eyes, a confidence shining through. It was a fire that could turn her enemies to ashes. Manav liked all of this very much. He thinks for a moment and says to Sia, "I have a deal for you." To which Sia asks, "What kind of deal?"